What's going on, guys? This is Nathan Jones from Jones Health and Performance with our first inaugural Jones Health and Performance podcast. So, a couple of things we're going to be doing on here. Obviously, talking about fitness quite a bit, but then also other things. Fitness is basically like 1% of your life. So there's a lot more going on there, and we're going to talk about that too. Just because they play into each other, definitely. So if your head's not right, if your life's a mess, there's no chance in hell that you're going to get in good shape. And actually, more importantly, even if you do for some reason get in good shape, you're not going to enjoy it, and that's not what true health is. So with that said, I have my good friend good friend, and are we coworkers? How does that work?
I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, I guess we could say coworkers. So Sascha Pack of Elite Sports and Fitness in Camarillo, California. So Sascha is a former European basketball player, all around babe, and we share a studio that we both train out of. So that's actually how we got to meet. And then also we've become good friends, and she's got a lot that I think you guys could take away from this. So let's try to briefly explain it a little bit. So can you talk about a little bit of how you got into, you're a personal trainer now, nutrition coach, sports performance coach as well for a number of basketball players and a couple other sports. How did you get into fitness originally?
Well, fitness is always, part of the sports and what we did with conditioning and basketball. And I knew that a boring desk job was not the way to live my life. So I had to think, like, what really makes me tick and what really inspires me daily. And I think that, after realizing that I don't want just a normal job where I have to go in, check in, 8 to 5 or whatever, it brought me back to what I love the most, and that was just basically movement and kinetics and helping people. I think helping people is the number one thing that I saw I could do and change lives in this industry. So basketball was a huge tool for me because I used it not just for getting in shape and staying in shape, but also everything that, you have to do with basketball, setting goals, hitting goals, and making sure that you're definitely getting better all the time. And so after I was done playing professionally in Europe, I got
what country were you playing in, by the way? We've actually never talked about that.
Oh, yes. So yeah. I was in Germany. I was in Bonn, Germany for basically just a half a season. I played there just to kind of prove to myself that I could play professionally. So that's the only reason I went, and I did it and proved to myself, like, hey, you could do this. And then after that, I was good. So I wanted to come home and just start on the business. I actually had trained for a couple of years before that through college, just kind of used it as like I said, it wasn't a, 8 to 5 type job. So I used it to go around my school schedule and still make money and do what I loved. But when I got back, I knew that, okay, this isn't my career and I need to start taking this a little bit more seriously as a career. And yeah, that's when I met you.
Is that what the timeline was? So for people who are watching this, I moved out here in 2014 we started working together? The beginning of 2014, I think January.
It was around February, January 14 that I moved into that studio. Yeah.
Cool.
Before that, I had my own studio for 3 years before I left to Germany. So
that must have been a pretty tough decision to kind of, I'm just talking for you. Was that a tough decision to, like, basically, you had obviously opened a studio, you were pretty established.
Yeah, that was actually, that was hard because I had a good amount of clients. The clientele was good, but I had this goal and I wanted to pursue it, and it meant more to me than what I had going on at the moment. So I said, this is like my only chance. I'm going to be turning 30 soon, and I didn't know how much longer I was going to have basketball in me. So, yeah, and giving up all those clients, and slowly I just kind of chipped away at minimizing clients until I left, just to keep my income steady. But the work that I put in to get, physically the work that I put in to get back into professional playing shape was a lot of, it was a lot of work. And that was, probably 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 or 6 days out of the week that I was doing stuff, playing, lifting, running, stuff like that. So I had to chip away at my clients because I didn't have the time for everything.
Yeah. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Just not sleep? Like it just wouldn't happen. That's cool. So that actually brings up a good point so a bit, like we said at the beginning, that idea of the whole podcast is basically just to give people like health and fitness advice, obviously, but then also kind of not advice, but kind of examples where they can see where other people have kind of overcome like major obstacles or made tough decisions, and kind of just the thought process behind that. So with knowing, like you said, you knew that you didn't have, like, your kind of years were numbered in terms of like the ability to play at a professional level in basketball. And you said that training period of like 5 to 6 days a week. What are you training, like a couple hours a day at least, and then some skill work too?
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. It's cool. So that is like, obviously most of our clients aren't coming into the gym 5 to 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. They don't really need to, but for that like an average sedentary person, obviously was it December 28th or 29th right now? A lot of people, for better or for worse, are going to make New Year's resolutions that they want to be getting in shape.
That's the next one here.
Yeah, for sure. So what was kind of like your mindset going from, so we can kind of compare, like your ordinary world would have been like you're training your clients. Obviously the training is a morning and evening thing. So you're training clients, how active were you on your own at that point? Like before you really knew you were going to play?
Before I started training, I was just doing probably 3 days a week, just maintenance type workouts, just to kind of hold where I was. After playing collegiately, I didn't really, I never really got like super big or stopped lifting or stopped working out. I just kind of stayed the same. Like I said, just a maintenance type thing. So, but with work, you do what you can.
Yeah, exactly. So what were kind of like the early stages of adapt? The cool thing about what you had was a sense of urgency. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there wasn't really maybe like waffle around for a little while. It was basically like, I'm going to get my ass in shape because otherwise this just isn't going to happen, right?
Like once I got an agent, I contacted an agent. I knew I had, 6 months basically to get back into shape. So I took that 6 months. The first month was definitely just a whole change in my diet, getting used to eating quote unquote clean. I stopped going out as much. I just really kind of dialed into what I needed to do, put a plan together and did it. Like I said, my training regimen, I just had to get back into the mindset of training 5 days out of the week. So that was, my sense of urgency was definitely high because I knew I had 6 months, and at that 6 months, like I had to make a team, and I was spending, money to go over there, getting flown over there to try out and everything. So that was like, I had to get things done. Most clients, obviously, they don't have that sense of urgency unless, I don't know if you have the same thing, but most clients are come in, they just want to start feeling better, getting a little bit healthier, better shape, unless they have like a big family reunion or a cruise or some kind of vacation then there's some kind of urgency there. And sometimes they come in and say, I have 30 days. What can we do? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're like talking people back into reality there when they're like, oh, I want to drop 30 pounds. Yeah. So I think there's something valuable there for people who are about to kind of start or kind of pick back up in terms of getting in shape, and that would be like the value of setting goals in like very definitive timelines. You know what I mean?
Correct. I think that's huge, actually.
Yeah.
Especially, well, with any part of your life, any aspect of your life, whether personal goals, religious goals, students that need, to make, their GREs or whatever, setting goals and timelines to what you want to do, I think is the best way to kind of roadmap where you want to go and where you want to be. If you don't have that, you're kind of just floating all over the place and you have nothing to hold you accountable. But the goal setting, I would say, is when I get new clients in, that's the first thing I ask them, like, what are your goals and what is your timeline for this? Because in reality, like I said, if you don't have it, I don't feel like there's a sense of urgency for you to accomplish anything. You're just kind of floating around.
Exactly. I think a big part of it is you're kind of like a victim to emotion. You know what I mean? Like the days where you're feeling good, you might work out, you might eat healthy. But the days where like you're kind of run down and whatever, maybe you're down on yourself, like you pretty much just tank it if you don't have that.
Exactly.
So that actually brings us to a good point, which for people who, let's just focus on, so primarily our shared clientele is primarily weight loss. I guess we both have a few sports performance kids, but let's focus on weight loss right now because that's a big thing for the new year, definitely. And just the general population. Most people are looking at trying to burn some fat. So what do you think are like kind of realistic goals for people? Like say, like whatever, Susie, homemaker. God, I'm so fucking old. It's like all my references are ridiculous. Oh, by the way, I put a disclaimer on my website that I'm basically all these are just going to be like the way that I talk. So feel free to curse as much as you want.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you think are like perfectly, not perfect, but what do you think are like some decent goals for people coming through? And what kind of timelines do you like to work on with people? Like, obviously you're not going to just be like, yeah, we're going to lose 50 pounds at the end of this year.
Right.
Are there like,
I can kind of tell people's sense of urgency of what their goals are kind of when I'm speaking with them. You can tell, like, for example, I had this one client, Michelle, which, and when she came in, she was shy. She was, kind of, held back a little bit. And she's like, well, I want to do this. But you could tell underneath all that, she just wanted to explode. She was like, I want it so bad. But she was so reserved in the way she said it. But she was willing to do whatever to meet the goal of losing the weight she had gained through her depression. And that was so many things that we had to work through. And I think she's a great client to talk about because I feel like a lot of people go through the same emotions that she had gone through and coming in thinking like, in the last few years, especially for, a middle-aged woman, now I would say like anywhere between like your 35s to 60s, you get on a regimen, you usually have kids, you're married, you don't have time. And those are like probably some of our quote unquote normal clients, the clients that we get most of.
Absolutely.
And when speaking with them, I think the best thing to do is kind of see what it is they want and have them tell you what they want, because then they're voicing that to you and they're letting you know, and you're letting them do the talking because you're asking them like, well, if you want to work out how many days a week, and they're saying, well, realistically with kids, husband and work and all this other stuff, I can only do 3 days a week. But with the goals that they've told you, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds or X amount of inches, or I want this to fit into this size dress or whatever, that's going to take, 5 days out of the week. But you build a program that, and I think being honest with them and building the program around what they need is key. And making sure like, hey, look, this is going to take you some time. And, with Michelle, we had issues, we had back issues, but letting her know like, Michelle, this is not going to happen overnight, and this is not going to happen in a month. Like you'll see results and you'll like them and you'll want to keep going, but this is going to take you a good 5 to 6 months. She surprised the shit out of me with, coming in here. I think she did it in 10 weeks.
Yeah,
10
it
weeks.
was It was ridiculous. Like, I know I didn't, obviously I wasn't working with her, but like, she would come in while I was working with clients. And like some days I thought you had like a new client in when like she wouldn't be facing our direction because she would change so rapidly. It was amazing.
It was great. Yeah. Her loss. And she was like what I would say, like, I wish every client came in like her. You know, she did whatever it took and she listened to everything I say. And I think that a lot of people want it, but they don't want to listen to what you have to say. And in all reality, I think, you know, with this social, what is it called? Social networking and all the Instagram, Facebooking, everyone can say they're a trainer, but it's actually like, who really knows their shit, you know? And I think that's, I've seen trainers that, oh, I've done this to my body, so I could do it to you. But it's like, can you really do this to grandma who broke her hip? And, you know, like, no, you can't. And you can't put her through what you've done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not going to train grandma like a bodybuilder if you're.
Yeah. So with that said, I feel like if there's one thing to take away from people that are coming in, you got to be honest with them. You need to show them that you're the expert and this is what it's going to take. So with Michelle, it was, she just ate up everything I said. And that was awesome because she listened and she took action on everything, which was awesome.
Yeah. Actually, so that like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 sentences you just said basically like cut into exactly what I want to go over for the rest of our kind of time together. So the one that we touched on, which I actually hadn't planned on talking about, but I think is cool, is social media right now. We just talked about that. You can find like there's 1,000,000,001 trainers on Instagram. What do you think are some good ways for people to tell who's legitimate and who's not? So like obviously if you're watching this and you live near us, I mean, shit, why are you not working with us already now? Right. But for like people who are going to see this who like obviously aren't local to us and maybe are looking for trainers, would you like, I know 100%, I always say to find someone in person if you can, rather than like just trust random people off the internet. You know what I mean? But when you're looking at people and you can kind of tell, like say you're a 45-year-old woman, never worked out in your life, and you see this girl on Instagram posting pictures of her ass and it looks great all the time, and she posts these things like meal plans,
right.
That does meal plans for people. How can you distinguish? How do you think people can distinguish between that person and someone like yourself, who obviously has like a decade of experience in the field, works with not only your
that's the thing. When it comes to social media, anyone can make themselves look like, you know, celebrity trainers, but that's a hard one because sometimes I look at them and I'm like, do you guys have any time during the day to actually put some work in? Because it looks like you post everything about yourself. And I don't know, like, when you actually work. And I don't know if they go to the gym and just take pictures and they just take a shit ton of supplements and fat burners. I mean, I think we've both been to gyms where we see that girl or that guy and you're like, damn, like they look so good all the time. But then you start talking to them and they're on steroids, fat burners galore.
Yeah.
They're sitting there doing fasted cardio 2 times a day or whatever. Like, you know, it's just
yeah.
And then you're like, and no, they don't work, you know, that's the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you can kind of tell like who's legit and then who's not. But then again, first of all, I don't know if certifications have a lot to do with it. I think, you know, education, experience kind of sometimes outweigh certifications because, you know, you can go online and get any kind of certification too. So that's a hard question, to be honest. I really don't.
All right, I'm going to answer it then. I'm going to answer my own question. I think for people who don't really know where to look, or they see a lot of people on social media, I think the place to look is the clientele, like you said. Like, has this person had success training people outside of just themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is huge. So that brings us into getting back kind of on track. It's what I really wanted to dissect there when you were talking about her experience was, so you had set a timeline for her of like you said 5 to 6 months. Like we said, she was able to do it in about 10 weeks. Can you talk a little bit about what adjustments she made?
I think so. The biggest part was obviously we started at the bottom of the pyramid. If you think about any training program, you got to start at the bottom. And that was with taking care of a lot of back issues, strengthening the core, flexibility, range of motion, and then diet. I took her to the grocery store. We were lucky enough to work close to the grocery store. So I walked over with her. She did not cook. That was the other thing. She didn't cook at all. So finding ways for her to implement better, more healthier things into her diet.
Give some examples of that for people. Like for
instance, they ate out all the time. So instead of a cheeseburger with fries, I said, I don't care if you get a cheeseburger or if you even get a burger, but don't throw your fries in the soda because you're just throwing all kinds of calories in it. So get a chicken burger or a chicken sandwich, try not to put the cheese on it, and or get a salad, put chicken on it. Take some of those fattier options and turn it into better options. Let's see, what else would. Oh, she loved Reese's Pieces, her Reese's. So she would eat, like, no joke, dude. She would eat a shit ton of Reese's Pieces, Dr. Pepper. But I said, hey, look, I don't care if you eat those, but you can't eat them every night, and you can't drink soda every day. Exactly. So you need to pick the time or the day or whenever it is that you want to have just a little bit. She's like, well, shit, I can't have just a little bit. So I'm cutting it all out because she knew herself, and most people do, hopefully. And she's like, if I have one, I'm going to have the whole fucking bag. So she cut it out completely. For her chocolate craving, we found protein bars that she liked that had chocolate in them. She found like 90-calorie packets of, brownies or whatever. And she found little things to give her sweet tooth those cravings controlled. So the diet was another part. We get her, I didn't have her go crazy. I didn't say like, oh, we're cutting your calories to 1,200 calories and this is what you're going to do. I literally started her out at, I think, 1,800 calories. I told her to count everything she put in her body. I gave her an app to use, like calorie counter app, which she loved because she was like, oh my God, I didn't know I ate so much. For example, her husband.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for people. If you have no idea how many calories you're eating in a day, track your diet for like a week because it's going to really put you in touch with reality in terms of like, because little stuff adds up. Like you said, with like the Reese's Pieces and stuff like that, and the sodas, anything like cheese, like you said, all of these like calorie dense foods, people have no idea how much they're overeating. And like you said, the best way to do it is just to track, even if it's for a little while. So I don't mean to sidetrack that, but
no, but it was true because like she was doing it, so her husband's like, well, I'll track what I eat too. And 2 monsters later, and 2 out to eat meals, he's like, shit, I've almost eaten 4,000 calories. He had no idea. Yeah. And most people think 2,000 calories a day because that's your normal daily
RDA or whatever bullshit that is.
So he was like, fuck, 4,000 calories, and I'm only like at lunch. And so that was an eye opener for him. So I think on your point, people have no idea, and that's huge. You need to track your food if you're trying to get into any kind of fitness program or weight loss program.
No.
Even if you want to gain, if you're trying to gain and you're a skinny guy or whatever, you need to track your food. So anyway, so those are just like the basic things at the bottom of the pyramid that we did to really start chipping away at what we needed to do to get her to her goal. Once she did, she stopped losing for a little bit. So she kind of hit a stall point. I readjusted her macros, which are proteins, carbs, and fats that equal up your daily calories.
Yes.
I readjusted some of those. I basically started her on a lower count of protein. So what I did was I upped her protein. therefore upping her caloric intake a little bit. And then she started losing again.
Yeah.
Then she came to another stop, and the only adjustment I made is I lowered her carbohydrates a little bit and upped her protein one more time. And I think we ended up at about 1,600 calories per day at the end of.
It's not bad at all either.
Not bad at all. She was eating good. She was always full. She never had any cravings. So she was doing really well at the end, and it wasn't like I had her on a massive amount of protein intake. I think, if memory serves me right, she was about 130 to 140 grams of protein per day, which was for her size, not that much.
Yeah, she's not eating like double weight protein. That's a big thing for people who are watching. There's a lot of talk of like high protein diets, high protein, low carb, low fat, things like that. And what the research says is that once you hit like a certain amount of protein, what really matters outside of that's going to be kind of your total calories and your carbs and fat. So if you are trying to lose weight, one of the things that you have to consider long-term to prevent those stalls, like you were saying, where obviously if you have a coach, you just readjust. But if you're on your own, you definitely don't want to start on like a zero carb diet or a zero fat diet, because that's going to just wreck your metabolism.
Not just your metabolism, but it will probably make you more likely to quit quicker, because you're hungry, you're craving the things that you just cut out. And that to me is not, if you're going to go into a diet, the best thing to do is just to take everything you eat and shrink it a little bit. And that's the best way to start it, because when you cut out things, you're going to crave them, and then you're going to overindulge in them.
Exactly.
That's my advice, but.
Yeah, no, I think that's dead on. So if we were to like kind of pool together, sorry, my dog's been like running around in the background going nuts. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that's not a pain in the ass for everyone. Here's the culprit. He's made his appearance in a lot of
okay.
I'm playing. Anyway, actually, I'm going to put him outside real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, so for people who are watching, was the like kind of baseline, if you're trying to set up your diet for yourself, the baseline would be to kind of find where your total calories are currently. And then what would you say when you're setting up people's, I usually have people set up just total calories and protein initially to like kind of aim for certain numbers because I think that's what's really the most important. I mean, that's what evidence would suggest is most important. You can go down the rabbit hole on other stuff that's important as well. But if your goal is weight loss, you have to adjust for total energy. You want to keep your protein like moderate to a little bit higher.
Right.
So when you're setting up there, the big thing that you brought up, which I don't think people consider, is can you sustain it?
Right. I think when I'm setting up someone's program, a long time ago, a friend of mine who was a trainer, she said, you want to do calorie wise. So if you're 140 pounds female, they always say like, try to get to about 1,400 calories. So
yeah, 10 calories per pound of body weight. Yeah. Yeah. You hear that a lot.
What's that?
You hear that for like cutting diets, definitely.
Right. Yeah. So usually for that, if you were 140 pound female and you came to me and you said, I want to get to 130 pounds. Yeah. So I would probably put you on a higher caloric intake. So about 1,650, 1,700, somewhere in that range. And I would put your protein less than 1 pound per body weight. So less than 1 gram per pound of body weight. So I would be hitting you. I like to start people out about 125 grams of protein because, first of all, I don't feel like that's too much because some people get really scared once they try to eat more than that. They're like, where the fuck do you find time to eat more and shove more protein down your face? But also, I don't know if you're huge on this, but, supplement it. If you can't find it in food throughout your day, then, there's nothing wrong with a 25 gram protein shake. So
product plug right now, even though we have no affiliation whatsoever. Quest bars. If you're looking to get a little extra protein in, Quest bars are delicious.
Yeah, I can go down a list with a bunch of different proteins that are, good supplements to get that a lot of people really enjoy. So Quest bars are a good one. Pure protein bars are a good one.
I think one point to make though is definitely you don't need those things. Like we said, there's nothing magical about supplementing protein, like at all. About protein bars, protein powder. All it is like you said, a macronutrient. So if you can get it through your food, there's a good chance that the food will come with vitamins and minerals that are beneficial compared to like a straight up protein powder. Although protein powder has calcium and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, I totally say try to get it through all your natural foods. But if you're having a hard time meeting that protein number, then a quick, easy way to meet it would be just to supplement it. But I do not recommend sitting there eating protein bars and protein shakes all day long to try to lose weight. And one thing that some people find on those protein powders or protein bars is they tend to make you a little bit puffier.
Yeah, agreed.
What's that?
Agreed.
Yeah. So if you're trying to get like leaner and more, thinned out and look more toned, that puffiness is going to be there. You're going to be retaining a little bit more, water in your muscles there. So,
yeah, a big part of that is a lot of these processed protein powders or the bars and stuff like that are going to have a decent amount of sodium in them.
Right.
And yeah, so it'll cause a little bit of water retention.
Right.
And like we talked about before, it comes down to calorie balance. So you're not necessarily assuming you have your calories in check and your proteins in check. It's not like you're actually getting fatter just because you're taking protein powders. But a lot of the time, yeah, you'll end up looking a little bit, a little puffier. And also, if you're dieting, you want to be careful of making sure that the food you're eating is actually like filling. And I find that protein shakes are not at all. So like we said earlier, if you can get your full allotment in food, it's the way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's kind of, I know you have to go and get back to work. Let's kind of wrap up here with a few of the more like actionable things we talked about. So the big one that we started with was actually setting goals rather than just being like, I just want to lose weight. Actually having like a timeline where you're saying within 6 months you're losing 50 pounds if it's the example we were just talking about with your former client. And then one of the other things that you had touched on was just taking action on things at the very beginning. So
yeah, I'd say like some takeaway points would be definitely setting a goal. Just real quick overview. When I was doing my training for basketball, I literally set out a Monday through Friday calendar. I didn't fill in the whole like month or anything. I just kind of filled in what each day was going to look like. And each day was, each week after week, they were the same, just different variations of what I was doing in that workout. So for instance, Monday, I would do a beach run in the sand because I wanted to work on some resistance and getting my ankles nice and strong for basketball. And then after that, it would be going to the gym and lifting. And I would work on that day, plyometrics or something. Don't really remember which one it was. And then Tuesday I would run, I do trail runs. Yeah. And that way I was getting that resistance of climbing up a hill, and so every day I had a plan and I had a plan set in place, and it's easier to follow a plan because you know what you're going to do. So the day before or the night before, you know exactly what you're going to do in your day. And I think that's the best way to set out anything that you do, whether it's, your list of chores to do the next day or your workout routine. If you have a goal and you have a plan, that's the best way to work on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, us trainers or coaches, our responsibility is to hold you accountable. That's why you hire us. Okay. And maybe because you don't know what to do on those days or anything like that, but we can set those for you. And so, yeah, setting goals and then taking action. It's all about your mindset. If you have a good mindset and you're, proactive and you're ready to go and ready to start this, don't let anything discourage you. It's all about what you have in your mind. If you know you can do it and you have the power in your mind to think that you can do it, then you're going to get it done. And that's what a lot of my clients, I think, fail because they're like, well, I'm never going to get there, or I don't know, like 50 pounds. But, 50 pounds might seem like a lot in 6 months, but, 2 pounds by Sunday isn't that much. And you could do 2 pounds by Sunday. And that's with Michelle, like going back to my client. I set small goals for her each week. I was like, here, get here, get here, get here. And she liked that rather than thinking like, oh shit, 50 pounds in 6 months. That was a far out long goal. Don't set goals that way. I mean, yes, you can have your longer goals, but set weekly goals of what you just want to meet. So that would be, a couple takeaways from what I was having to say.
I think you brought up a great point there when you were saying with your training for the basketball where you're setting out, you weren't necessarily saying like, oh, I'm going to be a master at three-pointers or ball handling or this, that, or the other thing. It was, I'm going to work on this task today. And long term, it comes to fruition as something.
Right.
Is really well built up. Okay. I think I ran over on the time for you for a couple minutes. First of all, thank you for being the inaugural guest. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'd have it no other way. Maybe we'll pop back on here again another time. And where can people kind of find your stuff? So do you have like a website, Instagram, things like that?
Yeah, so you can find me at elitesportsandfitness.com. You can see all of my training programs. I have some before and afters up there.
The client we were talking about is up there, isn't she?
Yes, she is. And also on my Instagram. It's elitesports_fitness. You can find me on there. I'm more up to date on that than I am my website, just posting boot camp stuff and client profiles, spotlights, and stuff like that. So you can see all the transformations that we've done. We've done a shit ton of transformations. So
yeah, that's a technical term too. That's the only way to put it. Yeah.
It's not a lot, it's a shit ton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been really cool to watch your clients come through and see the transformations a lot of them have made. It's pretty sweet. Since we got that new location, man, things are good. I've seen a lot of people making some serious gains. It's sweet.
Yeah. And your clients too.
Yeah, they've been doing well. They've been getting stronger. Yeah, things are good.
Yeah.
There must be something in the air. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, I will talk to you soon. And guys, go definitely check out some of those testimonials that you have on your site. They're pretty inspirational. It's pretty sweet. So.
Yeah, thanks. All right, Nate.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, bye.